Hello, welcome to Learning with Ms. H. Today we're going to do our Earth Science lesson on galaxies. This one will not take very long. We're going to do some notes over galaxies. There's a bell work question here to do in your notebook to get started. We've got galaxies notes. There's a short video about 8 minutes long to watch, and then you have homework here. We're going to start off by taking a look at the homework. So you guys can jump in on this whenever you are ready. It is basically one of these not really a quizzes. So you can take this as many times as you need to get 100% on it. So you can take this repeatedly. You are going to take a look at the image of a galaxy and tell me what type of galaxy it is. And that is all you are doing all the way through. So there are about 13 of these, I believe. And you're going to tell me what type of galaxy it is. So choose the correct answer, move on to the next. Once you've done them all, hit submit. Excuse me. And you can do that over and over until you get 100% on it. I would write down the ones that you miss and try and determine why you missed them and why they are classified the way they are, so that you can be better prepared when it comes time to answer questions like this on the test. There will be questions like this on the exam. So go ahead and pause the video, get together what you need to write with and write on for the notes, answer your bell work in your notebook, and then rejoin me here to take notes with us. All right, welcome back. We're going to talk about galaxies today. And as we go through these slides, we're going to learn what a galaxy is, some basic information about it, and then how to classify them and how to recognize them. So let's get started. As always, remember that if I move faster than you are, you can always pause the video until you are finished with the slide and then just restart it to catch up with us. So historical background. Up until about the 1920s, we really just were fairly self-centered. We thought that we were it. The entire universe was just us. We knew of the galaxy per se because people on really dark nights could see this kind of white streak through space, and they called it the Milky Way because it looked like spilled milk. And it's just a bright band of stars here. The darker it is, the easier it is to see it. That is an arm of our galaxy. At the time, they didn't know what the galaxy looked like, but they knew we were part of this giant cluster of gas, dust, stars, dark matter, all of that. It was in the 1920s that we realized that we are not alone. We are not the entire universe. There's way more out there than what we thought. The person responsible for discovering that was Edwin Hubble. You might recognize the name from the Hubble Space Telescope that was named after him. In 1929, he was able to see individual stars in galaxy. There's more galaxies out there. They're full of stars. They can be as large as the Milky Way. Some of them may be larger, and they're super far away. So it's because of him that we know that there's more out there in the universe. It is a very large place, and we are but a tiny little blip. So, what is a galaxy? Well, a galaxy is a huge mass of stars, gas, dust, and dark matter that's all held together in a local spot by gravity. So it's all localized in one area, held together by gravity, and you can see that they kind of have a shape to them. This is a deep space image from the Hubble telescope. It's just one section, one little area of space, but you can see all of these bright spots here. These are all galaxies that are out there. All different shapes, all different types. Some of them you can see clearly, some of them not so much. Overall, they've estimated, based on images from the deep field views from the Hubble telescope, that there are about 125 billion galaxies out there. We have obviously not gone and explored them all. We've not mapped them all, so that is a rough estimate based on doing some calculations of, density of galaxies in the images that they've taken here. We've got a couple different types of galaxies. There's 4 main classes that you need to be aware of for the test: spiral, barred spiral, elliptical, and irregular. Irregular is fairly easy. It's down here in the bottom right. It just kind of looks like a big old blob. There's no real specific shape to it. Elliptical next to it is just what it sounds like. It's an oval shape. It's got the star in the middle that's super bright, and then everything around it's just kind of faded and blurry looking. It does have some old stars in there, but there are no new stars forming. The spiral on the top left kind of looks like a hurricane. You have a central bulge in the middle here. That's the star, the main bulk of where the stars are going to be getting born. So you have the central bulge in the middle, and then all of these kind of arms coming off of it. As these stars form, they move out away a little bit, and they form these arms with all of the gases and dust out there. The difference between a spiral and a barred spiral: a spiral is very, very circular here. A barred spiral kind of looks like somebody squished it flat. It's got this elongated bar in the middle, and you can clearly see that the 2 arms are coming off of the 2 ends, whereas in a regular spiral, you can't really tell where they're coming off of, and they're not necessarily directly opposite each other. There can be lots of other branches coming off of these arms that come out, but in a barred spiral, the 2 main ones will come off of either end here. And it looks like somebody put a pole through the middle of it there. So these are just images of spiral galaxies from different angles, different viewpoints, different perspectives. So the Andromeda galaxy over here on the left, this is a spiral galaxy that's kind of set at an angle from us. Then you have the Sombrero galaxy on the top right, and it almost looks like Saturn. You've got the bulge in the middle with the rings going around the edge. This is that plane where all of the stars are coming out. They're being formed and spun out. So this disk is right there. We're just looking at it straight on from the edge of the disk. And then the Whirlpool galaxy is almost face on to us. So it's like a top-down view almost. We're not going to worry about the specific types and classifications down here. Basically what you need to know about spiral versus a barred spiral: your spiral galaxy up here is fairly circular. It's got a disk around it with a central bulge in the middle, but it's very circular. The barred spiral down here on the bottom has almost a bar going through it, and you can see these arms coming off just on the 2 ends here. So it's a central bulge with a bar across it. So it's elongated. Anything that you can very clearly see has an arm at either end of it, that's going to be a barred spiral. Elliptical galaxies. Again, we're not going to focus in on the specific types here. The classification is based on whether it's spherical versus oval. But any type of elliptical galaxy is going to be a rounded, sort of flat-looking galaxy. These top 2 bullets are going to be the most important points here. It contains very little gas and dust, and what's there is really, really hot and spread out. It's diffuse, spread out. and there's no current star formation. Remember that stars form from gas and dust coming together and colliding and causing that nuclear fusion to happen. So without gas and dust, you don't get new star formation. So there are stars in these galaxies, they're just old. Irregular galaxies, again, are just blobs with no specific shape to them, like the bottom here. The differences between those and ellipticals are listed. I would understand this. It's going to make it a lot easier to tell the difference between them in images. So the elliptical is basically just one giant bulge. It's circular or oval in shape. That's what an ellipse is. There's no real disk coming off of it. There's stars in there, but there's little to no gas. So it's very, very light in the gas here. You have this bulge in the middle and then almost nothing around it except the stars. Irregular galaxies, no specific discernible shape to them. They're just a giant blob. There's no spiral. There's no real ellipse to it. But they do have lots of gas and dust. So these are going to produce a lot of stars. So an active galaxy and a quasar. An active galaxy means it has more energy than a normal galaxy. A quasar is one of the most powerful active galaxies, and it's basically shooting energy out of it. So this one, for example, has the black hole in the middle sucking energy in, and as it gets more and more energy, sometimes that energy gets shot out, so you see these beams of light coming out of it. That is a quasar happening. There aren't very many of these in comparison to a normal galaxy. Quasars are out there. They're just not super common. So this is not your typical galaxy that you're looking at here. So you just have all these high-speed particles that are getting kicked out in multiple directions here. This is just a summary slide. Again, we're not going to worry about all of these specific classifications with the letter and the number. You don't need to know that for the test. That's going to be getting into a little bit deeper astronomy than what we have time for here. But you can see these different galaxies and what they look like. So up to right about here, you start seeing all of these elliptical galaxies. The one labeled SO looks sort of like an elliptical, but it's starting to get more towards the spiral side. And if we were closer or a different view, we would see those arms coming off of it. So the first three on the left are ellipticals. Then you move into your spirals, and the top is a regular spiral. The bottom is a barred spiral, and you can see a couple of examples of them. You can have, tighter and tighter wound spirals. They can be wound multiple times around there, just like a regular spiral, but they come off of each end down here. As we continue to move to the right, you start getting closer and closer to the irregular shaped galaxies until you get to this one that's just a big blob. This is it for the notes for the day. Told you not very long. You do need to do the homework assignment where you're going to be able to recognize the types of galaxies. Do it as many times as you need to. Make sure you take care and know that you are recognizing them and not just copying the answers when they tell you what's right, because you will need to do that for the test. Good luck, and we will see you next time.